Hey guys, this is Colin with Alpine Electronics. Today we're going to be installing our i509-WRA-JK that fits 2011 through 2018 Wrangler JK and JKU models. This model now has a weather-resistant 9-inch HD display, high-resolution audio, wireless Carplay and Android Auto, and is tuned for your Jeep. All the sound settings come preloaded right out of the box. So before we get into the installation, let's go over some of the tools that are outlined in the manual. So first, we're going to want some sort of a saw. I would pay careful attention to the blade, make sure that it's rated for plastic, that way it cuts through easily. Next, we're going to want a multimeter, just in case we need to test through any connections. We need a panel tool, be able to go through and pop off all of our panels. A 7mm of some sort. I like to use mine on a screw gun, makes it very easy to remove screws quickly. Number 2 Phillips, a T20 Torx, a 10mm for disconnecting our negative terminal on our battery, a set of wire strippers, and in my case they are wire strippers and pliers, a set of wire cutters, and you may want to have the remainder of your sockets as well, just in case there's something else aftermarket in the way. So now we'll take our 10mm ratchet and disconnect the negative terminal on our battery for safety. So now we can start this assembly, removing 7mm screws from our top storage area, our knee panel, behind our window switch, and then we can remove our dashboard for access to the radio. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the 7mm in our top storage area. We're going to start by removing the rubber insert. Now we'll go ahead and remove our knee panel and the 2 7mm screws underneath. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove the power window switch. I like to turn it to the side, release the red clip, push the button, and it just pops out of the way. And then remove the 7mm screw from behind the switch. Now we can go ahead and remove the dash bezel. Just move the steering wheel out of the way. And it's all just pressure clips. Now that we have all the panels removed, we can go ahead and remove the radio. It's 4 7mm screws on the outside. Now we can go ahead and unplug all of our plugs. Next, we're going to move our factory connections out of the way. And we're going to trim off our center support for clearance for the new radio. Next, we can remove the 2 7mm screws from the metal bracket in the back of the dashboard using our ratchet. Now that we're done our disassembly, let's go ahead and unbox our radio and start on the installation. Go ahead and unbox our Maestro. Pull out the brain for our radio. Unpack our weather-resistant bezel. Now that we have everything unboxed, let's go ahead and start our bench assembly and prep putting it into the vehicle. First thing I like to start with is putting our brackets on the back of the screen. Good to note that they are labeled R and L. R is for right if you were looking at the screen head on. So we'll put the right side bracket over here using our 8mm screw. Then our left bracket. Next, we can apply our foam insulating pad to the top of the LCD screen. Just center it towards the back of the plastic on the top of the screen. Next, we'll assemble the brackets that support the main body. Good to note that these also are labeled R and L. Makes it easy to figure out which side they go on. Then our left side bracket. Next, we can assemble the main body into the brackets. One thing to note, it tells you this side is top. Now that we have all of our brackets installed, we can go ahead and start plugging in some of our harnesses. I like to start by plugging in our display cable from the main body to the LCD panel. Next, we can plug in our second display cable. I'd like you to note that it is labeled display side, external button side, and head unit side to make it real easy to determine where the cable needs to plug into. Good to note that the external button side will be plugged in the last step because it connects to the bezel for the radio. Next, we'll plug in our RCA harness. Even though we're not going to use it today, I like to have it handy just for future upgrades. Next, we're going to go ahead and plug in our main power harness, which also has our CAN IF plug. It's worth noting that the CAN IF plug also has inputs for a backup camera and a front view camera, as well as a drive recorder input. The drive recorder input is to work with our DVR C320R dash camera. That dash camera can work in conjunction with our radio to display videos on the screen, gives you touchscreen control of the camera, and it plugs in with two easy connections, a composite RCA and the LIN cable. Next, we're going to go ahead and flash our iDatalink Maestro module using the supplied USB cable. It's good to note that our radio has the serial number you'll need for flashing on the bottom of the radio. And you may want to take a picture of your steering wheel control configuration because they will ask you that during the process, along with the make, model, and year of your vehicle. Now that we've completed flashing our Maestro module, on the last page there's an option to print out the wallet card. That gives you quick handy reference guide for all your steering wheel control functions so that you know what all of the buttons do. One other thing worth noting, if you do not flash the Maestro module, the radio will still power up and operate, but you will not have steering wheel controls or gauge functions. Now we can go ahead and plug in our Maestro module. Plug in our power harness, the green multi-pin plug, the 4-pin plug next to the USB port, and then on the other side of the module, we'll plug in our black 18-pin. And we're done. Next, we're going to prep our dash bezel for cutting. We'll start by removing the vents. To remove the vents, go ahead and press this button and spin the vents until the button actually sinks into place. And we can go ahead and rotate our vent and that pops out. Now I know this step scares some of you guys at home, but it's actually really easy. Just cut the bezel right along the line of the center section. Doesn't need to be a perfect cut because it's going to be covered by our bezel during the reinstallation of the 9-inch unit. As you can see, the cut doesn't need to be perfect. It's completely okay if it looks like Jaws bit it off. Next, we can go ahead and reinstall our vents into our new bezel, paying attention to where the Jeep logo is oriented so that it's straight up and down. Now that our work on the bench is done, we can start installing the parts into the vehicle. Next, we're going to go ahead and install our Bluetooth microphone. We can just pop the mic on the bracket. Then we can clip it to the header right above the rearview mirror. One thing to note is above the left side of the mirror, it's a little panel clip that just unsnaps that gives you access. Next, we'll go ahead and snake our cord above the header, down the A-pillar, and across to the dash cavity. It may help to pop this side panel off, which you can just push from the inside up here. It's all just panel clips. Then you can snake your wire the rest of the way down the pillar. Next, we're going to run our OBD2 cord, which plugs in right under the driver's side of the dashboard, and we're going to follow the same route as our Bluetooth microphone. Next, we're going to install our GPS antenna, which installs just above the sport bar to the left of the driver's side speaker. It's important to use the LNB backer plate when you mount the antenna for better reception. The cable is going to run along the top of the roll bar, down the A-pillar, across the gauge cluster and into the center dash cavity. To run the cable, we can untuck the zipper for our factory padding and unzip the factory sport bar. We're going to go ahead and peel the adhesive off our LNB backer plate. I'm going to pop the Velcro up on the padding, and there's a flat area all the way at the top that you can just sneak the LNB plate into. Go ahead and peel the adhesive backer off of our antenna. Sneak it over the bar into the same area and right on top of our LNB backer plate. No, it's hard to see. You guys might need to do it a little bit by feel, but trust me, this is the right position. Now we can reinstall our cut by Jaws factory bezel back into place. Reinstall our two 7mm screws. Our knee panel. Next, we're going to install our two antenna adapters, one for FM, the other one for SiriusXM. We're not installing SiriusXM today, however, we're going to plug in the adapter anyway for future upgrade. One thing to note, the plugs do look similar. The FM is the thicker of the two cables on the vehicle, and the one with the larger metal end for the adapter. Now we're ready to go ahead and mount up our radio and make all the connections. Little pro trick, I like to hang the radio across the center of the dash to support it while I'm running my USBs. Go ahead and plug our mic in. Plug in our FM antenna. Plug in our GPS antenna. We'll make sure to pull our key cable off to the side. Make sure you keep that ready to go. One thing to note, this Jeep is equipped with the factory premium audio system. In these vehicles in particular, you need to reverse your front and rear speaker connections, which are right here. Just plugging black into white before you plug the main Jeep plug into the car. This step is only for Jeeps equipped with the premium system with factory subwoofer. Now we're going to plug in our factory Jeep plug. Please note only the larger of the two plugs that came out of the back of the radio will be retained for this install. Now we'll make our OBD2 connection. Now we're all set to tuck everything back into the dash, making sure we stay clear of our vents. Next, we can plug in our external button cable and snap our new bezel into place. Next, all that's left is to plug in the window switch and reconnect our negative terminal on our battery. I like to turn the switch to the side, gives you a little bit easier clearance and access to the red locking clip. And the switch just snaps back into place. The install is not truly done until we remove the protective film from the screen. Well, that wraps up our video for today. Hope you guys found it informative and helpful. If you have any questions, make sure you hit us up in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe to Alpine TV. You can also hit me up on Facebook under Alpine Colin. I'm always here to help.